we committed to doing one every single week between now and the rest of the season till the actual draft happens. So there we go.
How you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
It's been a
BC?
minute. How you been?
I've been struggling. I've been struggling. I feel like committing football suicide. I feel like the Grinch of the future NFL season, the 2026 NFL season, because there's nothing but long roads ahead of for the Miami Dolphins, and it's gonna be a miserable time for me. But I'm here.
Yeah. What is up, guys? In the chat, what is up?
You never know, though, man. The nice thing about when you don't know what's coming is something surprising could happen, you know? Maybe you take a shot on some dude in the 4th round and catch your next Marino. Who knows?
It's just like, I'm not feeling that, man. I'm not feeling that.
That's what I love about the draft. You never know what you're going to get in the draft. You think you know. We all think we know what these prospects are going to be. But once in a while, you catch some lightning in a bottle, man. It changes your franchise.
Yeah. Look at Tom Brady. I'm a Michigan fan, and now I hate
Yeah.
So it's just like one end from the other. So
Well, for every Tom Brady, there's a freaking million other guys that didn't even make the roster.
yeah.
Yep.
So let's get started. So we had a lot of trades went down, a lot of them, 3 big ones, matter of fact. But what trade was the most shocking to you both? Which in the chat too? Which trade was the most shocking? I can answer this right now. I might as well just go first. Trent McDuffie to the Rams. I did not expect that at all. I mean, I know the Chiefs are going in like a little bit of a retool, a little bit of a rebuild, but I thought he was going to be untouchable for the rest of his career in Kansas City, but it looks not. It looks not, and they got 4 draft picks for him. Crazy. So I'm going to go with McDuffie on that one. James, how about you?
Yeah, I'll stay in division with the Crosby deal. I'm not surprised that Max Crosby got traded, but I didn't expect it to be the Ravens that picked him up.
Right.
Just because they've had a habit of drafting guys and then shipping them out the door before they had to pay them.
Yep.
So to trade for a guy that you have to pay top dollar was a surprising thing to me. Not the talent, man. Max Crosby is incredible, talented dude. So I'm not surprised that anybody would want him. Everybody should want a guy like that on their roster. But I was definitely surprised to see them give up 2 first-round picks to go get a pass rusher when they always just let him go in free agency or trade him away.
Yeah. Big C, what about you, man? What trade kind of caught you off guard?
The Crosby deal, I'm not surprised that the Ravens gave up 2 first-round picks. That's what teams that feel like they're on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl or getting to a Super Bowl do. I'm very disappointed, not shocked, but disappointed that the Kansas City Chiefs, and if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm very upset right now. Instead of adding pieces to a roster that has one of the greatest quarterbacks this league has ever seen on it, instead of adding pieces to try to get them back to the Super Bowl, take advantage of Patrick Mahomes while you have him, you're shipping guys off for draft picks. It just doesn't make sense to me. This kid is one of the best corners in the league. This is typical Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they shipped a corner off a couple years ago to Tennessee, right? What was his name?
Right?
Snead.
Yeah.
And he was one of the best. You let Tyreek Hill go, and this team hasn't been the same. They've been to Super Bowls. They've won a Super Bowl without Tyreek, but could you imagine if Tyreek would have still been here? Could you imagine? You know what I mean? Like, what did they really get? And for the Rams, I think this is huge for the Rams. This reminds me of the year that they went out and they got Jalen Ramsey. This team was on the cusp of a Super Bowl last year. You add a corner of Trent McDuffie's ability. I think they are the favorite going into next year. If I'm the Rams, I'm calling Aaron Donald, seeing if he's interested in coming back for another Super Bowl run. I'm retooling Stafford's deal, and I think the Rams are going to go all in. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rams win another Super Bowl similar to the way they went about things last time they won.
Yeah. And I'm just saying this right now. If the Rams actually get someone like an Aaron Donald type, I mean, the Eagles are answering calls about Jalen Carter right now. So I'm just imagining, like, if they get like a Jalen Carter type, that would be kind of crazy for the Rams, especially. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I'm kind of all for it. Just keep Jalen Carter here. Just keep him here, please. So
I definitely get you guys' thoughts on the whole trading away of McDuffie. He's a top tier corner, but the flip side of that is now you're the Chiefs and you have 2 first-round picks. What if you get your tight end of the future and a number 1 wide receiver in this first round because you were willing to give up McDuffie? So they might be able to retool the offense and give those pieces that they're missing, since their wide receivers can't stay out of jail, and Kelsey looks like he's on the borderline of retirement here, and nowhere near as effective as he was when he was younger. What if you can get Kenyon Sadiq, the top tight end, and then still get one of these top wide receivers and kind of retool that entire offense and just kind of count on the Kansas City way of just outscoring everybody, which was what their plan was all along.
Well, I think these guys are still going to need time to develop, though. So you're taking the prime years of Mahomes' career and we'll do it this year, we'll do it next year. You know what I mean? Like how much further you're going to push it down till Patrick Mahomes starts to fall off?
Yeah.
Now the Ravens, they go out and they add someone to that roster to help them get to where they need to be instead of trading assets away. I don't think you should be trading assets away when you're a yearly Super Bowl contender. Why are we trading assets away? You try to rework contracts. That's how you build when you have a already Super Bowl ready team. You retool contracts. You trade away 3rd round draft picks. You sign guys that maybe are looking at 1-year deals. Someone coming off an injury, a Tyreek Hill. Like you could have added Tyreek Hill this offseason, and maybe he's not ready till halfway through the season, or maybe he's not even ready till through 2027. But that's an option. You know what I mean? I think Travis Kelce would probably come back. You would have still had your 1st round draft pick. You could have still got someone to be Travis Kelce's replacement. What's the chances that either one of their late round, 1st round draft picks are going to be the player of a Trent McDuffie? You know what I mean? Chances are neither one of them players are going to be the quality player that Trent McDuffie is.
Yeah, I agree with that. But here's another thing too. Mahomes is coming off of a big injury. He's still injured. I don't know when he's going to come back fully healthy. And who's the backup quarterback there? It's not Gardner Minshew. He's gone. So who's the backup quarterback for the Chiefs right now? Do you guys know? Because that would make or break it.
Chris Oladokun.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. Got Jake Haener too, so I don't know if they like him better or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
So that's my point.
They're gonna add somebody. Let's be real. They're gonna add a vet in free agency to try to get through the beginning part of the season. There's no way they roll out there with those guys.
Kyler Murray or Malik Willis, Anthony Richardson. Do you guys see any one of them going to the Chiefs possibly?
Not Malik. I feel like if they're going to add somebody, it'll be somebody that's been like a backup in the league for a lot of years, or a spot like a Geno Smith would make sense because you could probably get him kind of cheap. I've heard rumors of what's his name? Dude used to be the starter for the Bengals, who's still in the league, the redheaded quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Dalton. I've heard
yep.
rumors of them trying to get Dalton over to be a starter for the beginning of the season.
Tua Tagovailoa is available early in the season. You know what I mean? Like,
and you can get a guy like that.
I mean, they get him there till. I mean, just to fill in till he's ready to come back. You give him a tight end. You give him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I'm Travis Kelce, I don't know how I would feel right now with the state of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm kind of with Bo. I think he said this last week, James, or a couple of weeks ago. Go to another team for your last year. Like, try to win something, but I don't think you can actually go anywhere with the Chiefs now. I don't see it. So
well, he's got a ship. You know what I mean? If he had never won a championship, it would make more sense. But to end your career anywhere else but Kansas City, I think would affect his status with the Kansas City Chiefs. It would affect his overall what's the word I'm looking for?
I know what you're talking
You know,
about.
his,
I get it.
Reputation or something.
is
What was
is man, I can't think of the word. I will think of it sometime.
It'll pop in. It'll pop in.
I know what you mean. Though. There's not a lot of one jersey dudes out there. Where
Loyal? Loyalty?
No,
Is that
not
what you're talking
loyal.
about?
Not loyalty. His. I'll think of it. I won't think of it. Waiting on it, but
It's actually bothering me.
it does say
But-
something though when a guy sticks with one team his whole career, or even at the end when he could go somewhere else. So I
his
see what you're
legacy.
saying on
His
that,
legacy.
you know?
Legacy.
like-
That was it. That was it. Okay. Okay. Yep.
we
I
just
can
had to talk
definitely
about.
understand that. Look, I mean, with Kansas City, they're obviously in a mini retool. I don't know. They just need to get a quarterback, maybe in a runner. Who's their running back? Is it Pacheco still? It is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so they're good on that front. They're good there. So
Are they? Because they don't run the ball with Pacheco, which drives me crazy.
they might
like,
with this new quarterback, though.
you know,
Whoever this
yeah, I
quarterback,
mean-
they might. So I'm like, okay, backup quarterback here, a vet. Give me the rock. Like they're not going to throw the ball a lot.
I just think I think they're making their life more difficult. You're creating a hole where you didn't have one. You didn't have a hole at your number one corner position. Now you do. Not to mention the hole that you have at quarterback till, Mahomes gets back. Not to mention the wide receiver hole that you have. You're just in the tight end hole you're about to have, the running game hole that you have. You know what I mean? Like other teams that are on the cusp of Super Bowls are adding players. David Montgomery joined the Texans. You know what I mean?
That was a big
Max-
move. Yeah, that
Max
was big.
Crosby joining the Ravens. You know, these teams are adding players, and Kansas City is shipping players away.
Again, it just comes down to the health of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, maybe he's out for the whole year. If that's
Maybe, but McDuffie's still super young. He's gonna be.
I
he's still gonna
agree.
be a top end corner next year. You know what I mean?
I
Like
agree. How old is McDuffie? I'm gonna look this up.
this is at the end of his first contract. They drafted him with the pick they got from the Dolphins for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah,
My
25.
God.
Dolphin fans are clamoring for us to trade Achane. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, we're in the middle. We're in the middle of a rebuild. He's going to be washed by the time I was like, first off, rebuilds can be as short as 2 years in the NFL these days. With the free agency, the draft, this, that, and the third, you can rebuild a football team in 2 years if you draft successfully.
Yep.
Achane's 24 years old. What is he going to be? 26?
Eh,
He's washed
right.
at 26. Oh, we
Yeah.
don't want to pay him the big dollars. I was like, you offer him an early contract. You don't have to pay him number one running back. No, you can give $14 million for one of the top playmakers in the league. What are we talking about shipping away a 24-year-old running back? People don't make sense to me.
It's the
Yeah,
best
you
part of
gotta
the
pay some-
offense.
You got to pay somebody, and every quarterback's best friend is an explosive running back that you can dump it off to when things go right. So, like, why would you not want to pay Achane? I'm with you 100% on that, man. Like,
Not to
You don't
mention
just
he's
let
a
him-
massive part of the passing game. Like
yeah,
what are we talking about?
yeah. Tight ends and running backs are a quarterback's best friend when things aren't going smoothly, and you would expect things to not go perfectly smoothly during a rebuild. So you need to have a good running game. You need to have a running back that the quarterback, whoever it's going to be, can lean on. Like, yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. You got to have that.
Yeah. And let's talk about another trade we didn't really discuss yet. DJ Moore to the Bills. I thought that was a pretty big move. Big C, I know you pretty much hate that one right there.
I mean, I think DJ Moore absolutely becomes their number one receiver over there. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that DJ Moore is a top wide receiver in the league, but he's a very good wide receiver. Like I'd put him on that. He's a top tier number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that he's a number 1, but he's definitely the Bills' top receiving option right now. It's definitely a help for Josh Allen. You put him with them tight ends, the slot receiver that they have in Shakir. I think it helps this Bills offense quite a bit. Listen, the Bills had a down year last year. The Pats had a great year. I could see with this move, and if Buffalo can, hit on a couple of these draft picks and figure out a way to stop the run next year, I think Buffalo can retake this division. I'm not big on the Patriots going back to back in the AFC East. I think they had an easy schedule. I think they got super lucky. I'm not huge on the Patriots, but this is a big move for Buffalo. It is.
Yep. James?
Yeah, Buffalo needed wide receiver help in the worst way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as Big C was talking through this, like the thought that came to my mind is this is an elite number 2 wide receiver, and so I agree 100% on what you were talking about there. Is he a number 1? Well, it doesn't really matter. Buffalo hasn't had top wide receivers Josh Allen's entire career, other than a couple years with Diggs there. He has just had a massive hole at the wide receiver position. They're missing on their draft picks. Shakir's a nice pick, but he was a mid-round guy. They weren't even expecting him to be a top dude for them. He just happened to pan out. So, I mean, if they can find another guy in the draft and really kind of get that trio of wide receivers, you might be able to see the Bills really kind of get some distance between themselves and the Patriots again in a positive manner for those of us who don't like the Patriots.
Yeah. I don't like him, even though I beat him in the Super Bowl. That's all that matters. But for me, it's just like I like DJ more. What does it do for Chicago, though? That's just my question. They just got picks for them, right?
They got
a bunch of young wide receivers there, high draft picks.
Okay, so they're fine. Pretty much.
They had a loaded wide receiver room, so they didn't have enough footballs to throw to all the guys that they had on the team. So they were okay with moving on from one of them, and especially like you got 2 good tight ends there too. Like they have plenty of targets. That wasn't the problem there. So that gives them an opportunity to use that for another position of need, which probably like pass rush help or something like that for them, or maybe the secondary.
Yeah. That kind of caught me off. Well, I mean, Josh Allen finally got his weapon. So is this actually going to help him in the long run? Yes. But my thing is, in the playoffs, is this going to help him in the playoffs? Probably not. He'll probably crumble again. So they need a lot more, I feel like, for Buffalo on the offensive side. So
I think we put too much on that crumbling thing with Josh Allen. Has he had his downfalls in the playoffs? Yeah. But I mean, if you look back at some of them, like the Chiefs were just crazy good. I mean, the fact that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill take the ball down in 15 seconds, that overtime game was absolutely nuts. There's no way that Buffalo should have lost that game. Buffalo would have been into the Super Bowl. So, I think they've had a string of bad luck. Josh Allen hasn't helped himself, but I don't think the organization has really helped Josh Allen. Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And, you put that much pressure on somebody, against top tier competition, mistakes are going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're responsible for 85% of the offense, you're going to make mistakes along the way against top tier talent. So, I mean, any of these teams like Buffalo, the Ravens, I would be calling Tyreek Hill and getting him on speed dial, because when Tyreek Hill gets back, and I have 100% confidence that Tyreek Hill will return, if he can even be 85% of the player that he was before that injury, and you're going to get him at such an increased discount, we're talking about a $40 million a year player that you're going to get for $7 million. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta. Could you imagine what Tyreek Hill could do for that Buffalo Bills offense if he can return to the form? And I believe Tyreek Hill will. Those type of players are built different. They're just, they're just physical freaks. And he'll probably come back as one of the fastest players in the league still. Will he have as much cutting ability and stuff? Maybe not, but I think he could still be a huge weapon for a Josh Allen team, a Patrick Mahomes team, Lamar Jackson. He can definitely help you get over that hump.
Yep. And then for me, right, the whole thing with the whole crumbling for Josh Allen is that he's one of the top 4 quarterbacks, right? And he still can't get it done. So that's where a lot of these people are talking about for Josh Allen. Is it fair? No. But I feel like when you're that high on a pedestal, you got to be like, okay, what's the next step? Can you get further? Can you get further? And he's just not there.
I mean, he's not
all be his fault, though.
He can't sign the players to the team.
I know. Yep.
Does it take anything away from Dan Marino that he didn't win a Super Bowl? Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are going to say he didn't win a Super Bowl, that he can't be considered one of the greatest of all times. Well, I've watched every play of Dan Marino's career, and I've watched every play of a lot of guys' careers. And I'm telling you, you can take the guys that have won 3 Super Bowls, and I'm still taking Dan Marino all day. And it's not just because I'm a Dolphin fan, you know what I mean? But Dan Marino couldn't get himself the players that he needed. You know what I mean? It's not, you can only do what you can do. And did Dan Marino make mistakes in crucial games? He did. But when you're responsible for so much of the team's success on the offensive side of the ball, if you got to throw the ball 50 times to win the football game, a couple of those were probably going to be picks, especially when you're going against elite defenses. You know, it's just bound to happen. So
it is, and I think most of them with these fans criticizing Josh Allen, it's just like, okay, they just want to see him get to the next step. And I feel like with the general manager, you are right there. But how much leeway did Josh Allen get? It's just like
he gets the rest of his career, if you ask me, because he is one of the best. And like, to me, like, I also don't blame any lack of success in the playoffs on Josh Allen. Because again, it's the supporting cast. It's too much to ask of just the quarterback. When we're talking about these first round dudes who are bringing Keon Coleman out there and he can't catch the ball, you have to hit on some of these first round picks. So it's not even like necessarily on the coaching staff. It comes down to the general manager too. You got to do a better job drafting players and getting them better weapons, man. It's malpractice to have a quarterback that good and then not invest high enough to give him weapons to actually do his job correctly.
Crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
It is. And that's coming from
Josh Allen get the ball. Did Josh Allen get the ball taken away from, no, it was Cooks. It was his receiver. You know what I mean? Like, what's he going to pass it and catch it? You know what I mean? Like, he was already your leading rusher for a numerous amount of years. You know what I mean? Like, has he made mistakes at the end of a game where you're like, oh, it's Josh Allen's fault? Sure. But it's because you got to rely on him every freaking play or you're not going to win. You don't even have a chance to win.
Yeah. Nick, Bo's in the car right now. He DM'd me. He's in the car. he's not here, but, we actually have a question for you, James, from Vic here. If you're Steelers, would you try to trade for Michael Pittman Jr., and what would you give up for him?
I mean, Pittsburgh needs to find another wide receiver, preferably before the draft, so that you're not in a situation where you got to reach for somebody. So would I take Michael Pittman Jr.? Of course. Yeah, he's a talented player. I haven't really thought about compensation on that. I'm really hesitant for Pittsburgh to give up more than a second-round pick for anybody. But Pittman is a very talented dude. I don't know if that's kind of redundant with the skill set on DK Metcalf, though.
That's what I was going to say. Aren't they similar, big body receivers?
Yeah, big dudes. I would kind of want the other guy to be a little bit more of a shifty route runner, guy that can get quick separation kind of deal. That's what my hope is for the.
You guys should go get George Pickens.
I would prefer somebody who actually blocks on rundowns, though.
Damn. But Bruce, I did see Maxey last night. He got injured. He may be out for the season now. So there goes my Sixers. So there's that. Might have a broken hand, which sucks. Other than that, Bruce. But yeah. Remember, James, we were reacting to that draft and they had you pick the quarterback.
Yes.
You were like so mad at that. So, oh my God. I haven't seen James that mad.
That's one of my biggest frustrations. I saw a lot of that last year too. People were like, well, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, so we'll just give him whatever quarterback. Like, I don't want a bum quarterback just because we don't have a quarterback. Like, if there was a good dude, yes, of course I would want him. But I'm not in on Ty Simpson like that.
Ty Simpson was impressive at the combine, though. He was impressive.
Yeah, all his deep balls were underthrown. All his out routes.
Come on, he threw the ball good. He threw the ball well at the combine. you didn't really think he threw the ball well?
I thought he threw the ball pretty well, but like to me, what I look for is when you're throwing a deep ball, does the receiver have to slow up for it? And every time the receivers had to slow up for it. So I'm a little worried about how big of an arm he actually has, because he's kind of a small QB. He's like 6'1", 200 pounds. And a lot of his out routes that he was throwing kept on being on the back shoulder, which is an incomplete pass every single time in the NFL. And now chemistry with random dudes at the combine is not going to be great. So I get that. But I'm a little more worried about his college tape, because as things got more difficult in college, he played worse football. And I want a guy that can play well in December and January, not a guy that's going to fall apart at that time.
Well, I mean, he was dealing with that gastro, what's it called, made him lose 30 pounds and stuff. So
that's an issue.
At the end of the year.
That's definitely
and that's something that doesn't typically come back. It was just a random thing that happened to him. Yeah, I don't know if I'd take him in the first round. There's been talks of Miami taking him at 11. I wouldn't touch him there.
Yeah, that's it. I don't necessarily hate the guy. I just think that taking him in the first round for what Pittsburgh needs and has so many holes, there's a lot better dudes at their positions than what Ty Simpson is at quarterback. So I would hate to see them pass up on like a top guard or a top corner or a top safety to get a quarterback that, if there were other people available in this draft, would probably be pushed down to the third or fourth round.
See, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, I'd knock on the door of Kyler Murray, honestly. I mean, Kyler Murray's got talent. You know what I mean? He's got arm strength. He's athletic. You know what I mean? I think you guys are close enough that if you can get Kyler Murray to play decent football, that, and I don't think he's going to be super expensive.
Well, I mean, you ought to be able to get him for a vet minimum, because Arizona owes him all the money. So if you pay him more than that, it's just less money that Arizona has to pay him. So it's one of those situations that it's kind of like what Russell Wilson was a couple of years ago. Pittsburgh picked him up for a vet minimum contract because all the money was getting paid out of his last team. So
would you be interested in Kyler Murray?
Man, I don't think he has much left. I think he's kind of faded too much to. I would rather take a shot on Will Howard. Will Howard didn't get a chance to even play in the preseason last year. He's got the size, arm strength. He played great in college, especially during the playoffs. I would want to see Will Howard first before I would want to bring in somebody who's had so many struggles in the NFL. It's the problem I have is that I saw how bad Russell Wilson was, and his big issue was not being able to see over the middle of the field. So he didn't want to throw over the middle of the field. So I don't want another quarterback that has the same deficiencies. And he's a drastically better athlete than what Russ was by the time he came to Pittsburgh. Like, there's no comparing that part of it. And I think he probably has a stronger arm than what Russ had at that point too. But I don't want to be watching football on Sundays again where every pass is an out pass or a dump off to a running back. Like, you got to be able to use the middle of the field to be successful.
Yeah. So would you draft a wide receiver in the first round, or would you go offensive line?
It's absolutely something Pittsburgh should be strongly considering. And now that's assuming that the right guys fall to him. You're at 21.
Correct.
If 3 or 4 wide receivers are already off the board by then maybe the talent isn't quite requisite of what you should be doing, and maybe you should go a different direction. So I think there's enough opportunity on the team for upgrades that you can be a little bit flexible there. If one of like the top 3 wide receivers is somehow still there at 21, well, then you should definitely strongly consider it. I'd love the guard out of Penn State. I think with Baltimore trading away their first round pick, that just became a greater possibility because they were one of the highest odds teams to take him in the first round. So now they don't have a first round pick, so that's not going to happen. There's a number of good corners in this draft class. I'd be happy with one of those dudes. The middle linebacker talent is absurd in this draft class. Like, these dudes are stupid good. In the safety class is the fastest we've seen in 10 years, maybe. I don't know. So you could get a safety in the first 2 days, second or third round, and have a starting safety for the next 10 years. So I'm real open this year to different possibilities in different positions. I just don't want to see them going with a here's what we're doing. We're doing this no matter what plan because that's how you fail.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with the top receivers in this year's draft, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, there's issues with all of them, right? Jordan Tyson's got all kinds of injury history. We were hoping for a faster 40 out of Tate. His tape's awesome. He's an Ohio State wide receiver, which seems to be like a golden ticket in the NFL. But a 4.53 isn't what you were hoping for. And Mekhi Lemon looked like he was high at his interviews. So I don't know what to expect out of this class, but they all have good tape.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But really quick, I just want to actually bring up Mike Evans actually, because he's been on the talk of the town, like what team is he gonna go to, and I feel like he need not just about the team, he's like he gets 1,000 yards every year. So I'm like, what team would take a guy who's that good? Like the Commanders are interested in Mike Evans now. Where would you guys see Mike Evans going? If you got honestly, any team would take him.
I find it hard to see him leave Tampa Bay, to be honest. I mean, you got a Super Bowl title.
Right.
It's one of those legacy things. Why move on at this point in your career?
It's got to be a money thing, I guess. It got to be a money thing.
I mean, I'm sure the dude's super rich. You know what I mean?
I know. I know.
I think it's a crowded room there now, with the emergence of Emeka Ibuka. How much playing time is Mike Evans going to get in the future? So I guess if he's worried about getting on the field, I could see it. I would say any team that has a bunch of young wide receivers and doesn't have a good vet in the room, man, why would you not want to bring in Mike Evans? Like, dude's been the consummate professional his entire career. Is about as consistent as it gets. He's an excellent route runner. He wins with his size. He wins with every aspect of his game. So, if you're a team and in your wide receiver room is all dudes on the rookie contracts, man, yeah, bring in Mike Evans and have him help show the ropes. It's almost like having an extra wide receivers coach.
Yeah. How old is Mike Evans, actually?
72? I don't know.
He got to be up.
33, 34, probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He got to be up there. Hold on. What is he at? He's 32. Yeah. I mean, he's winding down in his career, so who would you'll get 2 more years out of him? Maybe. But wasn't he coming off of an injury too?
He's always coming off of injuries. He struggles to stay healthy too.
Yeah, that's another thing. So it's just like, why would you always want an injury for a wide receiver? And
I mean, he's a sure-handed, big-body wide receiver. When he's in the game, he's going to make the catch. When you give him an opportunity, you know what I mean. Red zone target, absolutely. You know what I mean. If you're a team that struggles to punch the ball in, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And James, we got a question for you from Bruce. Do you feel it was smart of Tomlin to leave the Steelers?
Yeah, because he got to leave on his own terms.
Right.
And the writing was on the wall now, in his entire career there. This was the first season where people started chanting to fire him. So when the crowd starts turning on you, your time's limited, which means this upcoming season he would have had to have magically had that run finally where they won a couple of playoff games. Because one playoff win I don't think would have been enough to shut the fans up, to be honest. They're just so sick of not being successful in the playoffs that unless you're making a run all the way to like the AFC Conference Championship, I don't think they were going to shut up. They're just going to continue with the chance of firing Mike Tomlin, and I think he had to do it for his own sanity. I feel like he lost enough of the fan base based off of a minority getting so loud that it just would have made it an unenjoyable experience to come back and coach another season.
Yeah, he had to do it to save his own face. I mean, like you said, writing was on the wall. Their division counterparts moved on from a coach that was successful in the regular season but couldn't get the playoff success. So I mean, maybe Mike Tomlin had this year to try to make something happen. But if you look at this roster, I think Pittsburgh is probably a playoff contender, but not necessarily a Super Bowl contender. And depending on what moves they make, obviously, but I don't think Mike Tomlin had the confidence that they were going to be able to make a deep run this year. And, he probably knew that this was his last shot. So it's better to step away, take a year, take a breath and, see what opportunities are there next year.
I mean, he is a Hall of Fame coach, right? So it's just like he already he can just be done. I don't see him coming back. I don't.
He's young enough that if he wants
I think he's too young.
Yeah, I think he's still in his mid-50s. He's like 54 or 55 or something. So if he wants to continue coaching, he's got plenty of time to do so. But why keep on going when more and more of the fan base is turning against you? If he takes a year off and let's say he decides to come back to coaching next season, it's going to be a free-for-all of teams trying to get him because he was just that good as a coach his entire career. So, yeah, I do think that the fans were making a mistake. But at the same point in time, there's a level of expectation in Pittsburgh that's not necessarily the same with every franchise. And they do expect you to be good. They do expect you to go to the playoffs and win playoff games every year. And that does make them a little bit entitled and a little bit spoiled, in my opinion. I was born in 79, so I grew up during the 80s and 90s where the Steelers sucked. They were not a good football team during that time. I saw a lot of awful quarterback play, and people weren't trying to push the coaches out back then. And they were coming off of being the most dominant they'd ever been in their entire existence during the 70s. So, yeah, it's a slippery slope, man. Can that guy get you back to where you need to be? Some of that falls on the general manager and doing a good job in the offseason with his draft picks and who he's bringing in free agency, too. And I think things were turning around with Omar Khan. I think he's done a great job the last 3 years in the NFL draft and bringing in some talent. But they could still be a couple more years away from being a serious contender.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, like Arku said, you got Mark McCarthy who won't move the needle. Arku's a Cowboys fan. So it's just like he has experience in Mike McCarthy era.
And that's part of the appeal is that he doesn't move the needle. They didn't want somebody that would move it in the wrong way. So as much as it sucks to say, they were looking for somebody with a high floor rather than a high ceiling.
It's funny how you went from Mike to Mike. You can't make that up. You really can't. Wow. Anyways, let's take it to my Eagles real quick with Jordan Davis signing a 3-year, $78 million extension with $65 million guaranteed. James, how do you feel about that, man?
Hey, he's a talented kid. You're finally starting to get the best football out of him that you've been waiting for. I feel like it was kind of a slow start to his NFL career, not getting a ton of playing time, not making a big splash, but now he is. So why in the world would you move on from a guy that big, that talented, that athletic? Keep him there. That's the whole point of this is you draft well and then you retain your talent. So I think it's a great move to keep a kid like that around. And man, it's fun when he blocks a field goal, right?
All right, Big C, how do you feel about that for the Eagles, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to re-sign your players. That's the reason that you hopefully hit on your draft picks is that you hit home runs, and I think this is a home run. Trenches are the most important part of why I feel the Eagles have been successful, and he's a major part of that moving forward. So, definitely makes sense.
Yeah, me and James, we were talking about this earlier before we went live. The Eagles are taking calls about Jalen Carter. And now after this deal with Jordan Davis, it's now Jalen Carter may be on the way out, and we're actually trying to pay Jalen Phillips now. So it's going to be harder for us to keep all these assets on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like we're going to lose someone very, very quickly and very soon. Is that Jalen Carter? Hopefully not. But I don't see we're keeping everybody. I really don't. So, I mean, we got Nolan Smith. We got all these Georgia guys who are going to need to be paid soon. It's going to be kind of tough. So, hopefully we get a good haul if we trade Jalen Carter. I don't want that. I never want that. But it is what it is, man. The Eagles are in a tough offseason. Very bumpy road this offseason for us. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you do whatever you have to keep Jalen Carter. If you got to make some uncomfortable cuts in other positions, offload AJ Brown for not as much as you would like to get back in return. You create the cap space to keep a guy like Jalen Carter. Man, he's way too talented, way too explosive. You got him and Jordan Davis. You could have your bookend D tackles for the next 7-8 years that could dominate the NFL. Why in the world would you move on from that? I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. Jalen Carter, he's like one of those generational talents that you can't let go. And for me, it's just like, please, Howie, just do something. Please don't trade him. Please don't. I mean, we got so many players that we could trade. Talking about actually drafting a cornerback too, where we're fine with that actually. That's what Eagle fans want. I'm like, how? We got Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. We're fine there. We got other holes to worry about. Reed Blankenship might be out of here. Blankenship might be gone. Goddard might be gone. So we got other assets to fill. And Eagles fans are like, cornerback too. I'm like, what? Cooper DeJean. I hate Eagles fans, man. I hate Eagles fans. There was actually this hot take from an Eagles content creator that said Jordan Davis will be better than Jalen Carter. And I'm like, why am I dealing with these people? Why am I dealing with these people, man? That's why I stick to the Sixers, and we suck right now with the Sixers. So I'd rather deal with that. Ain't 0 sense, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Mitch, I feel the Ravens made a big mistake by trading 2 number 1 picks for Crosby. I don't think that was a big mistake at all. They're trying to go all in right now. Super Bowl or bust for that. It's not a mistake. You agree, Big C, you agree with that? It's not a big mistake, right?
No, I mean, you're trying to get the most out of Lamar Jackson's career with the Ravens. How many more years does Lamar Jackson really have at playing at a high level? You know what I mean? He's starting to get up there at age. First round draft picks don't necessarily turn into the players that Max Crosby is. I mean, he's an elite pass rusher in this league. Elite. Yeah. Probably top 4. You know what I mean? Like, he's a difference maker for this defense that has a lot of weapons on it. He can turn this into the number 1 defense. I think it's a smart move. I think the AFC is wide open still. There's no team that in the AFC that I feel like is the favorite. I feel like, New England, they went to the Super Bowl this year, but again, they had an easy schedule. Buffalo, they had their issues. Denver, I'm not big on Bo Nix. They had a great year last year, though. Patrick Mahomes dealing with the injury. Justin Herbert, he struggles when it gets to playoff time. So the Ravens, there's a clear path to get to the Super Bowl, and adding elite level talent to an already good roster, I think makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. James?
Yeah, I agree. And for Bruce in the chat there, Big C's a diehard Dolphins fan. If you haven't seen his work before, Finn Posse Podcast is where you'll find him, man. That's our boy over here. But if you caught a lot of Ravens game last year, there was a common thing that happened when they were out on defense. They've got some playmakers. Hamilton's a stud, right? But they couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback at all. I couldn't tell you how many times Aaron Rodgers stood back there for 5, 6, 7 seconds and nobody was coming. There was zero pressure on opposing quarterbacks from that Ravens defense last year. They had to do something to get someone that could get to the quarterback. Is he going to see double teams? Absolutely, he's going to see double teams. This whole division and conference is very comfortable with double teaming top pass rushers. But he's going to make a big difference for them because quarterbacks aren't going to be able to be comfortable going up against the Ravens anymore. And they were last year. So you could sit there and wait and try to find somebody that finally got open. You're not going to have that kind of time against the Ravens this year. The only drawback to giving away the first round picks is the help that you need for Lamar on offense because he doesn't have a great weaponry room. Henry's getting a lot older now. Zay Flowers is a good receiver. They seem to be moving on from Isaiah Likely.
Tyreek
in,
Hill.
in that, yeah, Tyreek Hill would make a ton of sense. That interior offensive line is bad. They're probably losing their center in free agency, and both guards played awful football last year. So they got to do something about that to make a good playoff run this upcoming season.
Yeah, listen, I'm not mad at the move, and I don't think it was a stupid move, but there's other moves that you could have did that probably would have made more sense. Like you could have packaged those 2 first rounders to move into the top 10 and grab, one of the top. You could have grabbed one of the Styles or someone like that, and then use a second round pick and trade a second round pick to get a veteran edge rusher, and you would have saved a bunch of cap space that you're going to give up paying Max Crosby. You know what I mean? So there's other moves that probably would have made more sense, but you can't be mad at a move bringing in an elite talent onto a team that lacked pass rush last year. That was one of their biggest downfalls. We watched the Ravens year after year after year be a Super Bowl contender, and last year they fell off. So, what was one of their major holes is getting pressure on the quarterbacks, and Max Crosby is definitely going to put pressure on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thank God he's out of Las Vegas. Thank God. But now the Raiders have 2 first-round picks now. They got a first and the 14th. So we already know what they're going to do with the first overall pick. Mendoza is pretty much said and done. For the other pick, what do you think they will need? Basically anything at this point? So they will draft anything at this point? Any position in particular?
You're probably going to go pass rusher to replace Max Crosby. I mean, that's what makes sense. You go and you replace Max Crosby with somebody younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, either you go that route or you grab a top wide receiver sitting at 14 with that pick that they picked up from the Ravens. They ought to have their pick of those top 3 wide receivers. Is probably going to be at least 1, maybe 2 of them there. Get yourself a new number 1 wide receiver with your new number 1 quarterback. You already have a great running back. You already have a tight end. Wide receivers where you're deficient on offense. So I could see wide receiver being something as well. But yeah, they've got enough holes in this team that they'll find a serious talent at that 14th pick.
Okay, and actually, they just they just broke. The Packers and center Sean Ryan have agreed to a 3-year, $33 million extension with the max value of $39. So, okay, the Packers kept their center. There you go.
There's been a lot of center news the last few days, man. Guys retiring, guys getting extensions like crazy in the center world.
Right? I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Everybody's making moves for a center right now. It must be they don't like the draft class for centers.
Hey, I'll take one. We have Cam Jurgens. He can't stay healthy, so I'll take another one. I miss Jason Kelce, man. I miss him. He's come back. He's not coming back.
No, he isn't.
Nah. And here's another thing before we go into trivia real quick. Alex Pierce could draw interest from a couple teams. What team would be good for Alex Pierce? I'm going to look him up right now.
He should be drawing interest from half the NFL right now because he's a starting quality wide receiver and a good one at that. So he's going to get himself paid because he's probably the number 1 option in free agency right now as a wide receiver. So I expect him to get paid, and anybody looking for a wide receiver should be all in on trying to get him.
Yeah. Big C?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's looking for a quality receiver, like James said, I mean, anybody looking for a good wide receiver, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it makes sense, it makes sense.
Oh, he's only 25.
You know? Yeah.
He's only 25, so that's kind of crazy. I'm gonna look up right now.
Yeah, he's young, he's big, he's fast, he's got good hands. Like, yeah, go grab him if you need a guy. But he's gonna make probably $30 million or more a year just because that's what happens in free agency. So
yeah, he's 6'3". Wow.
Yeah.
I went on to ChatGPT. What is the team that will be the best fit? First one, Eagles. Of course. Of course, the first one. Well. The Cowboys.
You Eagles fans, man.
I did not even do that with ChatGPT.
You guys can have all pros at every position and still cry.
Trust me. I know. This Eagles fan base is terrible. Trust me. I Dude, I was in a live chat a couple days ago and I asked this guy, I'm like, why do people get so defensive about Jalen Hurts? And he's like, and then he got defensive about Jalen Hurts after I said that. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. I'm like, I didn't even say anything. So they said the Eagles, Cowboys, Jaguars, and the Bills. Obviously, if he goes to the Bills, be the second wide receiver or whatever, number one.
He ain't going to the Jaguars. They're loaded at wide receiver and looking to offload talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another team was the Chargers here. So those were the 5 it gave me. So
Do you
the
feel like
Bills,
he's a true number one? He can be a number one in this league.
I think he's a number 2, honestly. I think he's a number 2. When you have him and DJ Moore on the other side, I think that's a good duo, but I don't see him as like a number 1. James, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. He's in that DJ Moore category to me, where he's a really awesome number 2, but if you use him as a number 1, he might be kind of a low end number 1.
Yeah. And James, a lot of questions for you today, man. I'm a Seahawks fan, but I was just wondering what you guys thought about having DK on your team.
Other than the dust up with the fan, it was a great experience. He had a couple drops throughout the season, a few more than you'd like to see, but his blocking was top notch, which is a standard that's been lacking out of the wide receiver room in Pittsburgh basically since Hines Ward's retirement. So they needed somebody to reestablish the physicality of what a wide receiver should do blocking wise on run downs. And DK is probably the most physical wide receiver in the league, or at least one of them when it comes to that. If you want a wide receiver that can take a corner and move him against his will 10 yards, 15 yards down the field, that's what DK does, and I love watching him do it. So,
what is that, like the blind side when they take him and push him to the buses?
Yeah. There was a couple of times while he was a Seahawk where you saw him take the guy by his collar with one arm and just kind of hold him there. Like it's a little kid that's 10 years younger than you that's just swinging and he can't reach you. Like that kind of stuff, So I feel like especially when you're in a division like the AFC North, it is about physicality a lot of times. So everybody on the team needs to be tough and needs to be physical. And he's a dude that sets that physical standard. So, would I like him to catch more balls? Would I like him to be a better contested catch guy for how big and strong he is? Yeah, of course I would. But he is helping to reestablish how hard you're supposed to work and how you should block on rundowns.
Yeah, and congrats on your Super Bowl victory anyways. I just want to throw that out there. Congrats to you, even though you had an easy Super Bowl win. I'm just gonna throw that out there, man. That Super Bowl was bad. That was bad. So, all right. So we're gonna go into trivia, and that will wrap up this NFL Sunday Morning Show. Which player holds the NFL record for most career interceptions returned for touchdowns?
Return for touchdowns.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. He's a obviously he's a fuck corner, obviously, but the team he was known for is in the AFC.
Man, I know Willie Gay had a ton of them, but I don't think he's going to be leading the NFL.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna look up what team he's on. I think I know what team he's on. Career. Yep. So I'll give. He was actually on your. James, he was actually on your team too.
Rod Woodson?
Yep.
It was Rod? Yeah.
Rod Woodson was on the Steelers, Niners, Ravens, and the Raiders. So the team I was thinking of was the Raiders, obviously. So
I thought it was somebody more current. I knew Rod had a lot of them. I didn't know he led the NFL though.
When was he on your Steelers?
He started there, right?
Yeah, that was his first team. He was Pittsburgh.
He was a corner, the safety, and then
he actually tore his ACL playing against the Lions early in the season. The year that Pittsburgh lost the Super Bowl to the Cowboys is the same year he tore his ACL. He tore it early in the year and came back and played in the Super Bowl. But Pittsburgh was concerned that he wouldn't be able to be a top corner again, so they let him go, and he went off and was an all-pro safety for like the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, they really could have used him. That would have been something else to have Rod Woodson at the same time Troy Polamalu started his career in the same secondary. That would have been something else, man.
Yeah.
I take Seattle's not even winning their division next year.
Ooh.
Not even with Kenneth Walker's going to be out. Kenneth Walker's gone. So
yeah, but
I don't see him coming
Smith
back
and
to
Big Ben
Seattle.
ain't going anywhere.
Nah,
Yeah, but
he,
he gonna have McDuffie tagging along with his ass.
Yes, he is.
yeah.
That's why you do that.
Yeah.
That's 100% why you do that if you're the Rams.
And last one, only 2 questions this time. Who is the all-time leader in career sacks in the NFL?
Reggie White, Bruce Smith. Bruce
Smith, yep.
Yeah, like 202 or
Bruce
something.
Smith, yeah. I thought it was, at first when I
200
was doing
exactly.
this, I thought it was like Reggie White at first.
It was
I
Reggie
didn't-
White. Bruce Smith broke the record in Washington, I think.
Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting. I didn't even know that. All right, guys. So that's going to
Played for the
conclude NFL.
Commanders.
What?
He played for the Commanders at the end of his career. Well, the
Yeah.
Redskins.
All right. So Vic said, check my, what is this? Oh, it's your mock draft you did for the Steelers, Vic. You sent me your mock draft that you did for the Steelers. Well, he drafted. How are you going to get Carnell Tate with the 14th pick, Vic? How is that even possible?
No, he could be there at 14.
You see,
Really?
you see that comment, Mitch? He's saying that Seahawks got the best general manager in the league.
Well, we'll see. What is it? 2 Super Bowls to you, 1? I can finally say that. I can finally say that now. Oh, you traded up? That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Would you trade up, James?
If I loved one of the wide receivers that much, but I don't. So
No,
if
no.
I'm trading up to 14, it's probably because I saw somebody fall like Caleb Downs or Sony Styles or something like that.
You trading up to get Ty Simpson? Whoa!
He wants me to be angry on a Sunday.
All right, guys, we're gonna conclude here. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Big C, what you got, man?
Fin Posse Podcast. I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the off season. Just there's not a lot of Dolphin shit to be talking about right now. There's no free agents that we're gonna be signing. We don't got no cap room. It's just a miserable time to be a Dolphin fan. But I'll be there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to talk about it. And Monday through Friday during the season. I just got monetized, so
Congrats.
Finally. Okay, so it did work after all this time.
Yep. So
Oh, wow.
a lot of new
okay.
things coming to the channel. So keep a lookout. Come check it out. Even if you're not a Dolphins fan, you know, we talk about every team, shoot the shit. It's a good time over there. So come check it out. Hit that like button.
All right. And James?
Steelers by the Lake doing once a week still, because like Big C said, man, off season there ain't as much to talk about. But we do have free agency right around the corner. We're doing a mock draft every single week, so you get a new mock draft from us. You want to see what we think Pittsburgh's going to do with all 12 of those picks, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Like everyone would say, why am I getting so many DMs today? What the hell? What I do? Oh, it's not even about Mitch. Do you know who? Yes, I know who Ron Jaworski is. How would I not? All right, Arturo. Yeah, you're a Cowboys fan, okay? That's all I gotta say. With that being said, guys, like, share, subscribe. I might be live for a basketball game today, might not. So just stay tuned. Notification bell. With that being said, guys, we'll catch you all later. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I'm just waiting for more football. I want football back now. I honestly do already. So
I don't.
see you guys. Have a
I
good one.
want to sleep through 2026.
Yeah. See you guys.